The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Friday, the 22nd of January, 2016, are currently trading with gold at $1,097.53 an ounce, silver $14.02 an ounce, Texas crude $29.53 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 380 U.S. currency. Today in history, Monday, January 22nd, 1506, the first contingent of 150 soldiers entered the city of Rome, marking the Swiss Guard's foundation as the Pontifical Swiss Guard. In recent news, Dwayne Walling, former mayor of Detroit, who in April of 2014 before local news raised a glass of water as he pushed the button connecting Flint River to the city of Flint's water treatment plant, setting into motion one of the worst lead contaminations of a municipal water system in U.S. history, said that he was deeply sorry for all the problems with Flint's water and that he regrets he didn't somehow find out more about what was really happening. The contaminant? High levels of lead, one of the most dangerous neurotoxins for infants, which leached from the miles of underground piping which negligence at city, state, and federal levels failed to detect or even incorporate emergency protocols for, as required under federal law. This at first turned the water brown, giving it a chlorine odor. As Flint residents began to complain about the color, smell, and taste of their water, state officials were dismissive, according to emails released this week by Rick Snyder's office, Republican governor of Michigan. Even while many residents were complaining of rashes, the contamination wasn't reported to the public for roughly 18 months. EPA Region 5 Administrator Susan Hedman resigned on Thursday, and Governor Rick Snyder, who appointed Scott Kincaid as emergency manager, who was responsible for approving the project, apologized for the crisis and is seeking $28 million in state funds as a down payment for fixing it. The plan was targeted towards saving millions of dollars for Flint residents by using the river instead of buying water from Detroit, at least until the new pipeline to Lake Huron could be built. After reviewing feedback from students and faculty over the past few months, the Wesleyan Private University Board of Trustees decided today that concealed handguns would not be allowed on the Texas Wesleyan University campus. President Frederick G. Slabach said in a brief statement that the feedback received from the members of the campus community was overwhelmingly in favor of remaining a gun-free campus. The Lone Star Lowdown is currently looking to fill some ad space. If you have a product or a service you'd like to advertise with us, feel free to give us a call at 210-363-2257. This has been your Lowdown for January 22nd, 2016.
Hi, everyone. This is Ryan Metzel. I am here at Brave New Books in sunny Austin, Texas. My friends and colleagues are out in Australia. Would you guys like to say hi?
Hello,
Yes.
everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is Andrew Lichtenberger. Some of you may know me as Lucky Chewy.
This is Dr. Lisa Wample.
And this is David. We are in beautiful Melbourne. Well, it's kind of beautiful. It's a little bit overcast and rainy today, but Melbourne weather does change every hour or so, so it might be very warm in a little bit.
Yeah, as it was yesterday, a little overcast in the morning, and then sun came out and had a nice afternoon in the Botanical Gardens.
Sounds amazing. It is definitely bright and sunny out here. I have two amazing guests in the studio today. I have Brenda and Brian, who own, manage, and operate Vegan Health and Fitness magazine. Would you guys like to say hi?
Hi, Ryan. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Hi, Ryan. It's good to be on your show.
Excellent, excellent. And now you all were originally living, I think, in California. Why did you end up moving out here to Austin, Texas?
Oh my gosh, why wouldn't everybody move out here? What a great town. We came out here for a bodybuilding competition, the first plant-built muscle show, and it blew us away how many vegan athletes are in this town, and we're ready to do great things, and that's what we were looking for, is people to work with who were excited about doing what we're doing. So yeah, we came here and we found a bunch of great people like you.
Excellent.
And,
I appreciate
Brenda,
it.
I have a question for you to stay here. What is your passion behind, you and Brian, what's your passion behind vegan foods? How'd you get into it? What's your magazine about?
Wow, okay. I'll let Brian talk about his passion for vegan foods. I know he's a lover of a few choice items.
Yeah, well, let's see. I think one of the things that really brought me to vegan food was the the energy that I felt after switching my diet over to something a lot healthier, and I think that has to do not just with the fact that I think it's health wise a better diet for us on pretty much every level, but I think there's also there's a spiritual aspect to it as well, and knowing that you're eating in a way that is more in line with the health of the planet and all the creatures that we share this world with. So that is primarily my passion for vegan food, and I think
he likes pizza.
I was getting to that, strangely. There was a segue in here to pizza. I was trying to work it out. But
there is some good vegan pizza. I've had some amazing. Actually, Dave and Alisa made some amazing vegan pizza one time for Thanksgiving at Andrew's house, actually.
Yeah, that was a great experience.
It's a good Thanksgiving tradition.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's actually kind of the fun thing. When I switched my diet over, I think at the time I thought that I had this big repertoire of things that I used to cook, all these recipes that I really, really loved. I'm now looking back on it, I realized I ate very little in the way of sort of a varied and interesting diet. Now it's much more interesting. The things I make are a lot more complicated, and they involve an awful lot more ingredients, and they taste a lot better.
It's fun, right?
It is. It's fun. And it's like this constant exploration, because you when it comes to sort of eating healthier things for you, there's really hundreds of various ingredients you can use, and so the palette you're drawing from is incredibly vast, and the things that you can make are really amazing. If you're making raw food, figuring out how to make raw pizza dough and raw sauce and all the things that go with a raw diet, as opposed to just like a normal vegan pizza that's just sort of store-bought vegan cheese and things like that. There's this sort of wide range of different kinds of cooking you can do, and you have to really master all of it.
But it's not that hard, really. I mean, we early on discovered that you can make an awesome raw vegan cheese by taking some cashews and some water and putting them in a blender for a couple seconds. I mean, how easy is that? And it's really tasty. And you can throw that on top of some zucchini that you sliced up with your peeler. So it doesn't have to be complicated. And then you have your fettuccine Alfredo, and you have a really tiny fraction of the calories and much more nutrition than you would have in traditional fettuccine Alfredo. And I agree with Brian. The fun thing about being vegan, especially trying to eat super healthy as a vegan, is really finding more creative ways to do things. And it's fun. I know some people think it sounds like a hassle, but it's really not. It's a lot more fun than just throwing together a bunch of junk. And then you feel great after you eat it. And if you're knowledgeable about the nutrition, you're excited about what it's doing for your body. And you really learn how to heal yourself with food too. If you feel like you're getting some sniffles or you feel a little run down, the more you educate yourself about nutrition, you learn to do what Hippocrates said, which is let food be thy medicine. And it's fun, it's fun and easy. And I know you guys are into that too, David and Alisa. Do you want to share something?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yes. Amen. You guys are saying everything. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, I'm on the same page with, making food. Before I became vegan, I wasn't very creative in the kitchen, and I didn't even realize that I had a talent for making food because it wasn't that interesting to me. But once you become vegan, you start to think more creatively, I feel like. And I started using a lot of different herbs and spices that I never really used before, and just started playing around and coming up with creative ideas. And it's so much fun. And yeah, you feel amazing when you eat this way.
I can't understand why the Food Network doesn't have more of those kind of creative, challenges for chefs instead of just giving them some junk and saying, here, make something out of it. Why not say, make something healthy that's, tastes like junk food? That's what we do. I know that's probably what you were going to get into, David. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I believe what you're saying. I know Alisa and I, we've been doing the vegan foods and raw foods and juicing for quite some time now. And I must say, I feel healthier now than before, and it's been over a decade, and I just feel great.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Lots of energy.
A quick answer to Brenda's questions. I think possibly the answer to that is from a Business Insider article I'm looking at. It's because 6 corporations control 90% of the media in America. So not this one, though. I will say that. They do not control this one, or we probably wouldn't be allowed on it. But that's a good reason why, is because they're just promoting the exact same thing over and over again. So for everyone out there that's listening that doesn't know, David Burke and Dr. Lisa Wampel actually wrote a best-selling book that's been available at Whole Foods called Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior, which I believe is one of the best books you can find on health, fitness, nutrition, some amazing recipes in there. And you can actually find that. It's at Brave New Books. It is available for sale there, or online at burkesuperfoods.com. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you're interested in getting a little bit more involved and actually, experiencing this lifestyle that all of us, I think, has produced some amazing results in our lives and definitely been life-changing.
Absolutely. That's why we started the magazine, Vegan Health and Fitness, is we wanted to get that information out to the public in a way that was easy for any mainstream person to come across in the grocery store. And so, not only does it make us feel great and energetic, and we don't have to worry about the normal diseases that most people worry about, like cancer and heart disease and diabetes that have run amok in our society. It's very, very rare that vegans have those diseases. And it's very common that once people become enlightened about this sort of diet, if they have heart disease, if they have diabetes, if they have cancer, they're able to reverse it. It's amazing. There are lots of books out there on that. And again, we all recommend David Burke's and Elisa Wampel's book. It's amazing. And actually, I also recommend their yoga clothes. I'm wearing some David Burke yoga wear today. They've got a lot of great products. You got to go visit their website.
Thank you.
That's right. John Burke from the previous show, or John Bush from the previous show, actually asked me to bring in some extra large clothing for some of his family and relatives that were interested in it. So it seems like all ages and demographics are really liking the organic and bamboo yoga clothes. You know, they don't want to be poisoned with petroleum in their clothes by the skin, which is the largest organ in the body. So just be conscious of what you're putting on your body, not only ingesting but also wearing.
Yeah, it's interesting. Most people don't think about that, but that's the major inlet to your body is actually your skin. It's not your nose or your mouth like most people would think, but for sure. And I love that the bamboo clothing, honestly, is just way softer and more durable than anything else.
This is coming from an environmental attorney. For those of you who don't know Brian Akery's background, that's what he has done for the past 20 years now, almost.
Somewhere in there, 17 years, I think. So sure.
So he sues companies that put toxic. You see those warning labels on things that say the state of California has found that this product contains toxins that cause reproductive. I can't say the whole thing.
Reproductive toxicity or cancer.
So everybody's seen those little labels because California is the 8th largest economy in the world. So you have to put it on everything because you don't want your products to not go to California. So that just by having that law in California, they're affecting change basically in the whole world. At least in the United States for sure. And so that's what he does is bring lawsuits against companies that put toxins in products. And it's just shocking how many products out there that have things that you wouldn't expect. Even lead, something that's you thought was gone a long time ago.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought that, but for the longest time, things like children's raincoats, those PVC raincoats you'd see in stores, the outer layer of it would, it was equivalent to sort of touching a lead weight, and kids were wearing these. And it's just not something you would think of, that lead would be in plastic, but there it was. And honestly, because of the European Union and also because of California's law, lead is just not used in plastics anywhere anymore, and that's sort of like a silent thing that just sort of happened over the last decade. But yeah, we tend to think walking around in society that if it's something we can buy, that it's safe, and that's absolutely not true. But that's part of what this program is about, is educating people, letting them know what's.
And Brenda, what I really loved about your magazine, your Brian magazine, is how you guys went into the idea of building muscle with plant-based nutrition. And I know the first thing a lot of people hear when they say, oh, I do plant-based eating, they think, oh, you must be thin, you must be tired, you must be weak. And after the break, I'd like to get into some of the questions you get with your magazine and from fitness people about plant-based nutrition.
Absolutely. Yes, it's a big part of what we do. I'd love to talk about that.
Sounds good. We'll have Brenda get more into that after the break. Stay tuned.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
Everyone, Ryan Metzel back here in Austin, Texas, and we are live Nourishment for the Spiritual Radio Show, broadcasting from Austin and Melbourne, Australia. And if you want to call in, the call-in number is 512-646-1984. Again, that's 512-646-1984. If you have any questions for myself, Dave, Andrew, or Lisa in Australia, or Brenda or Brian here in the studio in Austin. So, Dave, you had a couple questions you wanted to ask Brenda that we were going over before the break. You want to go over those, and we can see what she has to say with that?
Sure. Brenda, I think it's fantastic you and Brian with your magazine have gone the fitness approach with your magazine explaining about plant-based foods. Can you explain to us a little bit about the misconceptions of how if you go into a plant-based nutrition diet and you're trying to put on muscle or fitness training, how it affects the body?
Awesome. I love that you're asking me this, David, because I know you know the answers. You have an amazing physique, and so does Elisa. So, you guys, I'd love to hear what you have to say about this also. But yeah, I started Vegan Health and Fitness magazine because I was inspired by all the vegan athletes whose books I was reading at the time. I started the magazine in 2012, and there were several books that came out in 2011. For instance, Eat and Run by Scott Jurek, and there was Rich Roll's book, Finding Ultra. I had read several books by Brendan Brazier. I had read Robert Cheek's book, his first one on bodybuilding. He actually just came out with a new one called Dread It, which is amazing also. And those books really inspired me to want to do everything I could with my body. And I've always been a pretty athletic person, but especially Robert Cheek, he speaks in his book about using your body as a way to be a great example to others as to how healthy the vegan diet truly is. And as we know, there are many top athletes nowadays that are using the vegan diet as a performance enhancer. And we talk about that in the magazine quite a lot. And there really is, you really do get a big edge on your performance because you have less inflammation, so your body recovers faster, so you can work out more often and harder. So, what could possibly be better as an athlete than finding a way that you can work out more often and harder and have less downtime, less soreness, and just all around have higher energy levels, as we were just talking about a few minutes ago. And so, yeah, through that experience of reading those books and wanting to bring that information to the mainstream public, and just, I've been vegan for 25 years, and I'm constantly looking for ways to share information with other people to try to convince other people to go vegan, not only for their own sakes, for their own health, and their families, but also for the sake of the animals and the planet, which are also very important to me. So the idea of having a magazine that was going to be at the newsstand, at the checkout, at the grocery stores, especially the health food grocery stores like Whole Foods Market, Sprouts, Mother's, Earth Fare, some of these grocery stores that everyone associates with healthy food. I wanted this magazine to be sitting there eye level, where, mainstream people are shopping, and yes, they're looking for healthy food and they're looking for more information on how to be healthier. So then they would see the images of people who are in amazing shape that they probably wouldn't even think are vegan, because unfortunately there are some really bad misconceptions that vegans are skinny and anemic and are somehow deficient in vitamins or something, which is ridiculous because we get more vitamins in our diet than anybody because we eat tons of fruits and vegetables, which is where everybody knows that most of your vitamins in your diet come from. So it's really funny that people think that, and I just really wanted to show people how wrong they were. So having muscular people on the cover to show that, yes, there's no problem in building gigantic muscles, and even being a professional bodybuilder, we've had many on our cover, or, becoming, ultra marathoner endurance athlete. I mean, the number one endurance athlete in the world right now is Scott Jurek, and he's vegan and very outspoken about that. The strongest man in the world is Patrick Baboumian, and he's from Germany, and he's vegan, very outspoken about that. We even have Barney Duplexis, the new Mr. Universe as of last year. He's vegan. So, I mean, really, what is there you can't do with your body on the vegan diet and excel once you see that the most muscular, strongest people in the world, and the people with the most endurance in the world are excelling on the vegan diet. So we talk about exactly, what these people eat and how it benefits them, and all the different scientific things that you will learn about different foods in the vegan diet, whether it be nitrates in beets and arugula, or just the anti-inflammatory properties of greens. So, I mean, there's so much. I could go on and on, but I would be interested in hearing David and Elisa's take on this, because you two are both also competitive figure competitor and bodybuilding competitors. So tell me about what you guys do.
Yep. And I think, hold on one second. I think we do have a call, Andrew.
Yeah, speaking of vegan athletes, we do have a call. His name is Austin, and he's from Texas. How ironic. So let's see what he has to say.
That is ironic.
Hello, Austin.
are you?
Great. How are you?
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Can I just
Absolutely.
introduce him real quick? This is Austin Barbish. He's our director of photography at Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine. And he's also champion ultramarathoner, bodybuilder, first in the world in rowing. I'm sure he'd love to brag about all of that to you. When we were just discussing the benefits.
He's vegan? Really? Is that possible?
Yeah, maybe he can tell us how the vegan diet helps him do all that.
Yeah. So my name's Austin Barbish. I'm 47 years old. I went vegan about 3.5 years ago for ethical reasons. I've been doing bodybuilding shows since 1996. So I'm really used to that, lifting weights. And I was kind of under the opinion originally that I'd have to have animal-based products to develop my physique and to get stronger. So when this ethical thing hit and I finally kind of realized what I was doing to the world, to the animals, I said, well, okay, I guess I'm just going to be a good runner because that's what I also love to run 24-hour races and 100-mile ultramarathons. And I just kind of mix it up. I get bored, so I'm always trying to mix things up. So anyway, changing my diet to plant-based, I started realizing that I wasn't getting as sore after I worked out. And I've been keeping my workouts, kind of all the machines I work out, I keep it on paper. So all the records I've accomplished on different machines throughout since 2010. So I had a really nice template to work off of when I was going to compare what this new vegan diet was going to do with my meat eating, my normal diet, the omnivorous type diet. And I started breaking all my records. So I was like, this is incredible. This is awesome. I'm helping the world. I'm getting stronger. And it was much easier for me to maintain my body fat level. So I joined a team called Plant Built. That's when the first vegan bodybuilding team in the United States. And won first place there. It was so much easier getting ready for the show. It was really easy for me to hold on to my muscle. Getting stronger and gaining muscle and losing body fat was so much easier as well. So I'm just so excited that I've made this choice for my body, but also definitely for the world. This is something that needs to happen. Our environment's suffering greatly because of our choices to drink dairy and eat meat. So, and this also carried through to my ultramarathon. So I compared my last, the ultramarathon I did, a 100-mile ultramarathon with the one when I went vegan the next year, a 24-hour race that I did, and then another 24-hour race I did when I went vegan the next year. And I lost 27 minutes off of my 100-mile time, and I won my 24-hour ultra. So with 115 miles. So it was just awesome. And the first 100-mile race I had done, or 24-hour race, sorry, even trying to walk for the next 4 days was very hard. Before I went vegan, I was just a mess, really beat up.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw pictures of that.
Yes, I've got pictures on, if you go to austinbarbish.com, I've got a blog where I basically, from the very beginning of my vegan journey, it shows my vegan journey. So the bodybuilding shows I've done, the rowing that I've done, and the ultramarathons, it kind of shows the progress and how well this has affected my body and how well it's actually worked. So after the 24-hour race, this last one is going vegan, I was at work 2 days later. I had 5.
Cool, Austin. We're going to go to a break here in a second. Could you tell us that story after the break here?
Absolutely.
Sounds good. We'll see you then, everyone. Listen in.
Okay, take a right turn at the gas station, then go 2 blocks, turn left on Main, and it's the third house. Oh, hi! Catherine Albrecht here, giving driving directions that involve left turns, while I still can. Details coming up.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
A superstreet is a road where the left-hand turns are rerouted. Drivers instead have to make a right turn and then make a U-turn around a broad median. While this may seem silly and time-consuming, research shows a 20% overall reduction in travel time compared to conventional intersections. What's more, superstreet intersections have nearly 50% fewer reported automobile collisions and 63% fewer cases of personal injury. The superstreet concept has been around for over 20 years, but until now, little research had been done to assess its effectiveness under real-world conditions. Given the latest data, left turns may soon become an endangered species. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at catherinealbrecht.com.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
Hello, everybody. We are back on the air. It's January 23rd, 2016, and we're speaking with Austin Barbich. And Austin, do you want to finish up your thoughts on your ultramarathon running and how vegan health and fitness has helped you improve your athleticism?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's talking a mile a minute. There's so much information I want to relay. But I'm just really happy. The ultramarathoning has gotten a lot better. My rowing, I've gotten very into competitive indoor rowing. So I have a couple of world records right now. And super excited about continuing to take that further. But what I really want to emphasize is that I'm just so proud to be working with Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine because, as Brenda was saying, this is the first opportunity, first magazine that actually has veganism and athleticism together combined. So it just is so important to me and for Brenda and the whole team for someone to be able to go into a market, a health food store, and actually see a magazine on display showing healthy vegan athletes because it's really the stereotype that needs to go down. And I'm really happy that I get to contribute to it and take pictures and write articles and just be one of the athletes, one of many, with hundreds of athletes all over the United States and the world that are showing how incredibly effective a vegan diet is for breaking records in any endeavor. So very proud and very happy to be part of the team. And I think that's pretty much that in a nutshell. If you want to know more about how to find out about me, you can go to austinbarbish.com and you can see my website. And I'm also on Facebook under Austin Barbish. And, feel free to friend me. I'd love to talk to you if anyone has any questions. And Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine is the best source for finding vegan athletes and finding incredible recipes that help people turn vegan or stay vegan and stay healthy and strong and take care of themselves. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's great to have a supportive community around and to be able to share something that you found so passionate in your life and bridge the gap that I'm sure many people out there love to experience. So thanks so much for your call, Austin, and I wish you all the best.
And what I find so interesting about the vegan plant-based movement, you've got the muscles, you've got the looks, these things are fantastic. But also when you start to look at the history of plant-based people who are deep thinkers. So a lot of people at the moment, they're cruising around in their electric-powered Tesla car, but a lot of people out there don't know that Tesla was a plant-based person. And so was some other famous ones is Leonardo da Vinci, Socrates, Plato. Now, I remember at school when I was in high school in my junior year, I had to learn about Plato, Socrates, I had to learn about Isaac Newton, Da Vinci, all these people. And, your teachers would say, you should strive to be like these people. But they didn't tell you how these people lived. Mm-hmm. And when you look at how they lived, how they looked at the world, they're looking at the world at a whole another level, a deeper level, a more constructive level, a more inspired level. And they left out of all these classes that these people were consuming plant-based nutrition.
Yeah, I mean, it's really true. And I really loved hearing Austin's story about his before and after experience because being an athlete already and then noticing the changes that he went through after going on a vegan diet. It's really amazing and inspiring. Yeah,
and Elisa, you got your Fitness Pro card in the INBA.
Yes.
Winning the U.S. title, the U.S. national title as a vegan raw food athlete.
Absolutely. I never I never did any kind of competitions or strong athletics as a meat eater, actually. So I don't really know, but it was it was actually pretty easy. I only started training, I think it was in July of that year, and I won that competition in I think September. So it wasn't, I mean, it didn't take much time. And being a vegan already, my body was pretty clean to start with. But then, with the right training, I saw great results.
Yeah. And Andrew, we met Andrew in Las Vegas. Andrew being one of the more well-known poker players in the world. He has to have a clear mind, some mindfulness, and he wanted to make a transition. Can you tell us a little about your transition into the world of plant-based nutrition and that phenomenal year you had?
Sure, I would love to. One of the first things that actually inspired me to change was before I even met you, I found your book, and that helps quite a bit. But I very much started pursuing vegan foods about 2.5 years ago, and it was around that time that I guess I was very much going through a transitional phase of my life, and as we all are at all times, this was a particularly paramount one, and I found that the the vegan diet is more than just food. It's very much a lifestyle. And with it came more yoga practice, more meditation, more breath work, more of these things, allowing me to cultivate more mindfulness and awareness on a day-to-day basis, becoming more in tune with my body, with my thoughts, what kinds of activities made me happy, which ones made me unhappy, how it affected my performance playing poker, and ultimately how it all came together, and the synergy of the positive conscious activities that I was taking part in ultimately led me to have my most successful year playing poker last year, and I very much look forward to beating my own personal best in this year to come.
And Andrew, I remember when we first met you, you were a little bit under the weather. And can you tell the audience a little bit about that? Andrew wrote a book called Yoga Poker, and it goes into some of his deeper thoughts and the transitions he's had in his life. But can you explain to the readers like kind of where your health was at and a little bit about your transition and where your health is at now?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up with a lot of sickness, which I didn't at the time really even acknowledge as sickness. I kind of just thought it was how life was, which looking back, it's a little bit sad, but so it goes. Had a lot of digestive problems, allergies, asthma, those sorts of things. And as I started to eat a vegan diet, it pretty much all cleared up. Been expelling a lot of phlegm from my body ever since I embarked on that process. And it's been quite magical just in my day-to-day perception of life. And I very much came to value the small accumulating of life, just a little bit of improvement each day, and how over time that really adds up, and it just offers you a better day-to-day experience. And now I would say probably the healthiest I've ever been in my life. It's certainly the best I've ever felt. And yeah, day to day, I wake up and I look forward to living, because life is a gift, and it's inspiring to be here. And I love to share experiences with people that have similar views.
And Andrew, I understand it's been how long since you've used your asthma popper?
I think 2 years. So yeah, it was only shortly after I started eating vegan foods that it no longer became a necessity for me.
And Brenda, Ryan was mentioning that you've got some doctors coming out in your vegan health and fitness magazine. Are you finding that the medical community is becoming more open-minded to plant-based nutrition?
Absolutely. We actually have 2 doctors that are going to be on the cover of the March-April issue, Dr. Garth Davis and Dr. Brooke Goldner. And they are both very outspoken vegan doctors, but there are many other vegan doctors out there these days. I don't know how many people realize this, but most doctors only get a couple hours of nutrition training. So, to find a doctor like Lisa Wampole, who has extensive training in nutrition, is definitely a gold mine. And some of these doctors, they use their ability to read scientific literature and research that they gained in medical school to then go and educate themselves. And we're very fortunate when a few of them decide to do that. I wish it was required for all of them, because we do hear a lot of bad advice, dietary-wise, being given out by a lot of mainstream doctors. But there's some really good ones out there nowadays.
All right, we're going to be going out to break pretty soon. So I think after the break, maybe we'll have Dr. Elisa talk a little bit about some of the patients that she's worked on with a plant-based vegan diet and the results they've achieved there. And for anyone who's interested, if you're the book Dave was talking about that Andrew wrote, The Yoga of Poker, is available at luckychewy.com. That's LUCKYCHEWY. And if you want to see Dr. Elisa in a bikini for her show, make sure you go to Birch Superfoods. Plenty of great photos on there. So check out those websites, and we'll see you after the break.
Descends to the earth, a time where the mind is defined and confined. We the people need to realign with the divine. A government for the people, by the people realigns. No more taxation without representation. It's time for the people to have their say, no longer the prey. Aligned with truth, there's nothing we cannot do. Divide and conquer lies and false promises. These are the archonic weapons of hurtful decay.
We are back here on Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. This is Ryan Metzel here in Austin, Texas, live on 89.1 FM, Texas Liberty Radio. And Brenda has a quick question she wanted to get into a little bit more about Andrew and what he wrote in his book. I have read it too. It's a very amazing read. I would definitely suggest you pick that up. So, Brenda, what did you want to ask Andrew?
Well, it's more of a, gushing compliments that I wanted to give him than a question. Just that book, Yoga of Poker. Even if you're not a poker player, I just wanted to tell everyone what an amazing read it is. Because Andrew, as a champion poker player, we're talking, this guy's winning millions of dollars, you guys. Everybody wants to know how to do that. And you only do, high levels of things like that when you've really mastered your mind. And there's so much that he talks about in his book about not being attached to the outcome. And how can you be sitting there with those cards in your hand and not be attached to the outcome? And yet somehow I can totally picture Andrew doing this because he's the most laid back guy ever. And I know that's why he's so successful. And I think that this is something else about the vegan diet and I think the spiritual connection that we all have with being vegan and really wanting to make the planet and other people and animals and everyone else happier and healthier and have more compassion spread and all of these wonderful things. It all ties in together. And when you have that kind of mindset and you're eating in a very healthful, clean way, it benefits the mind. We've actually had the memory champion of the world in the magazine also. Of course, he's vegan. And it really, I think Andrew is one of those guys too. Must have an amazing memory. And tell me more about how it is that you're detached from the outcome.
He does have an amazing memory, actually.
Yeah, funny thing about Andrew is Andrew can tell you a poker hand he had 4 years ago and what exact cards come out and what the pot size was. And it's kind of funny because I'll be spending time with him talking to some of the other top poker players in the world. And he'll be like, oh, remember when you got that hand like 2 years ago on like Wednesday and the two clubs came out? And the guy's looking at him like, Andrew, I don't know. I don't remember. And he's like, oh, no, it was like this. And the guy's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of profound. Like, if it's a relevant hand, it's almost like the image just gets imprinted in my mind. And for that moment when I'm recalling it, I just can't imagine that it didn't happen for anybody else. But yeah, I guess that's a unique quality I have. But thanks so much for the praise, Brenda. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed the book and inspired you. And yeah, with not being attached to the outcome, I find that if I'm attached to the outcome, I try to force it. And if I'm not attached to the outcome and I just let everything flow as it may be, then ultimately it's all going to work out anyway. So it's kind of like a paradox where by letting go, I then gain everything in a sense. But it's a learned skill. I'm still learning, as we all are, and I do my best every time I sit down at the table to bring that mindfulness and implement that attitude.
Yeah, Andrew started writing that book just after the World Series in Las Vegas, and we spent a couple of months in Austin. Was that right?
Yeah.
And every day, Andrew would practice. We had him doing meditation, and then he was writing down his cards, and every day he was writing his notes down, which became his book. And at the end of the year of that transition was the Alpha 8. And the Alpha 8 had the biggest field in history, which is a 100K buy-in, and first prize was $2.2 million. And there are multiple re-entries, and Andrew was blessed of that day to have victory, which was a great ending of his book. The book actually was published and printed about 2 days before the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have written the story better myself. It was truly incredible. And yeah, I'm blessed. Don't know what else to say. It was an amazing experience. And, I very much owe it to you guys, my friends, teachers. We're all teaching each other in this life journey, and couldn't have done it without you, and certainly couldn't have done it without my lasting friendships and all the people I know in the poker community as well, because without them, I would have never even became successful in poker originally. So it really is about, to me, working together and people of similar nature coming together and finding that commonality to all overcome the obstacles that they have and allow everyone to succeed in their lives.
One part of the story that I really like too is, I guess, the ability to persevere and go on. Because what's interesting about that tournament for Andrew, I think Andrew, right, you bought in right first for 100,000 and then lost, and then decided to try again, right? Is that correct?
That is true.
Wow. Was there ever a thought in your mind, or was there ever like maybe this isn't a good idea? Like I already, this just already happened once. Like what was your mindset there? That I really think that's really interesting to see after that happening, boom, going right back, and then, having no doubts whatsoever and going all the way with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating thing. As a poker player, you kind of get accustomed to losing. Like it doesn't faze you after a certain point, because you go out there and, you do your best, and whatever happens, happens. And on that particular day, I did my best and it didn't work out. And, it was my friends both in and out of poker that inspired me to just get back in there. And there was one friend in particular that really pushed me. He was like, come on, man, like the field looks good. You're one of the best players. Just, have at it, get back in there. And yeah, I did. And I'm glad I did.
And what I was going to say is we're actually very blessed to have Andrew with us today, because Andrew, don't you have a big game today?
Yeah, the here in Melbourne, Australia, the Aussie Millions is going on, and there's actually another 100K in how many hours is it now? Like 8 hours, I think. So yeah, I'll get some rest after the show, and then I'll be prepared to go and have another amazing experience. And I hope I don't have to rebuy again, but if I do, that's cool too. And, whatever the universe has in store for me, I'm willing to accept it. And I'm just going to go in with the same attitude I always go in with, and just try to have fun. And it's really kind of amazing because you're playing with so many of your friends that even though it's very high stakes monetarily, it's a lot of good laughs and friendship to be shared while the experience unfolds at the table.
And Andrew, I know there's a couple of other vegan players or people getting into vegan eating for mindfulness to increase their mental ability and their endurance at the table. Dale Negreanu, he said he read through your book and he had a look at our book also. And he's been having quite a good year also.
Yeah, Daniel's been a long time vegan / health public figure in the poker world. And I can only imagine, with where the movement is today, how difficult it would have been for him 10 years ago, always bring his lunch to the tournaments and everyone asking him. I guess people who don't play poker don't know this, but it's not necessarily the most health conscious community. So anytime you take out a green drink or something that they've never seen before, it's immediate questions, almost like interrogation. Like, hey, what is that? I want to know. What are you doing that I'm not doing? I'm very curious.
The performance edge. That's how you win.
Yeah. It's true. It's really true.
And we're seeing a real trend in a lot of the better players these days. They are taking a lot of care of their health. They're getting into whatever can give them edge. And it's actually not that uncommon now. I remember we were at the World Series in Vegas, and we saw a lot of people drinking their green juices, having their kombuchas, doing exercise in the breaks, stretching, massage, doing some yoga.
Yeah, it really is no secret. It does seem that the best athletes or competitors or individuals of any industry more or less gravitate towards a similar ideology, which in many ways revolves around the no harm to the self or others ideal. And yeah, from there you see a lot of the similar components that bring success into one's life. And in poker, that is no different.
It's funny, there's so many food trucks here in Austin, but I remember when I was visiting for the World Series, there's Dave's truck has a food truck in Las Vegas for the poker players with a bunch of healthy food, which I thought was very, very interesting as well, that, that many people are kind of, their minds are kind of going towards there because they need to in order to succeed at poker. It almost seems like the universe is sorting out, those who are in line with the universe and those who aren't.
Yeah, that's very true. And the Dave you're mentioning is Dave Swanson. He, I believe, played poker semi-professionally for a little while and then ultimately decided to pursue his passion of both health and fitness and started up that truck. And it's a real big hit. If you come to the World Series in Vegas over the summer, you'll see he's got a bunch of people working for him, bring food to people at the tables. And it's really great seeing players have an alternative to what was previously just basically the food at the Rio, which, in my opinion, not maybe the best option for long hours of play, sitting at the table. And it's cool to see him grow his business and do something that everybody really seems to enjoy. And it's like, a win-win on both sides. He is able to support himself and everyone else is able to get some healthy food.
Great business idea for anyone listening. Get a vegan food truck. Get more vegan food out in the world. We love it.
And bring it to an event where people are going to be sitting for a long time in one place.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. All the vegan restaurants we've been to have just been packed out here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's one place, the Veggie House, and it was about a 25-minute wait, and they had about close to 100 people, you think, in there, Lisa?
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the Veggie
House
bar? Yeah. That place was, it's always packed. Always.
And then there was the Madam K's. It's all organic and vegan.
Yep.
There's a Thai restaurant. It was amazing. Packed out. Then there's another one, Young's restaurant, which was packed out.
Yeah. Yep.
Everywhere you go, every corner, there's a restaurant in Melbourne. There's so many vegan options and organic options.
Yeah, and it really does seem like the food is grown very close to Melbourne because you can really taste the freshness in each bite. And I know that's in many ways similar in Austin.
Oh, very true. Food out here, absolutely amazing. So many different options from Whole Foods to Wheatsville to all the local food trucks, Juice Land, everywhere. So, yeah, visit Austin, visit Melbourne, and vegans will have plenty of options here. So we'll catch everyone after the break. Until then, stay hungry, my friends.
everybody. We are back on the air. My name is Andrew Lichtenberger. It is January 23rd, 2016 today. And we're here with Brenda and Brian from Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine. And Brenda, I believe you had mentioned there were a few events upcoming that you wanted to share with our listeners.
Absolutely. We've got so much awesome stuff going on. We have a vegan bodybuilding team called Vegan Beef that we started last summer, and they had their first competition in Miami Beach on August 15th, and they did amazingly. They got the team trophy, and several of the competitors got pro cards, and there were 10 competitors, and of the 10, almost all of them won either first or second place in their category. So very successful show. And the Vegan Beef team is going to be getting together to compete again. It's a larger group this time, and they're going to be here in Austin, Texas at the Naturally Fit Super Show, which is going to happen on June 26th. So we want to encourage people to come out and support it if you live here in Austin or if you're going to be in the area. And if you are a bodybuilder and you'd like to come to Austin to compete, give you the opportunity to get in touch with us. Austin at vhfmag.com would be the email address, or you can go to our website and contact us through the contact form there if you are driving and you can't write it down or something. But we also have another event coming up, the Vegan Global Run, which is something that we started about a year ago. The first one was on 4/4 of last year, 15. And then we had another one on 10/10. And so we're going to continue that same lovely date scheme. And so for 2016, we have another Vegan Global Run coming up on 4/4. And then there'll be another one on 10/10. And what's really cool about this race is it's a virtual run. So you can run no matter where you are in the world at your favorite running place. You can even choose the length, the distance that you want to run. And you just use your smartphone. You can use Strava or you can use Map My Run. We have a group on Strava for Vegan Global Run that you can join. We have 176 members now and growing daily. So it's a great opportunity to feel the awesome energy of the solidarity of other vegan runners when you're out there at your favorite running place and you're just thinking, I mean, so often as vegans, we get sad thinking about how, there's not enough vegans in the world and there's a lot of bad things that goes on that, hurts animals and the planet, and other people are just hurting their health and they won't listen to our good advice and this and that. This is the opportunity to get out there and just be happy that there's other vegans and feel that energy that we're all working together to make the world a better place, and just run. You can run a 5K. You can run an ultra. We've had people run up to 76 miles. And it's up to you to choose the distance that you want, and you get a shirt if you run. And then if you choose a distance that you want to compete for, we give out medals, first through third, sometimes first through fifth place if we have a lot of people competing in certain distances. And we list you in our website and on in the magazine, and we have everyone send in photos of where they ran and a little blurb about their experience. So it's a real community. You can communicate with each other on the forum on Strava, and you can communicate with each other through the website. And so anyway, that's something that I really want to encourage you to do, even if you're not normally a runner and you just want to do a really short little jog. Another thing that we're doing with the Vegan Global Run is we're teaming up with an organization called Athletes for Peace, which is an UK-based organization that was started by professional soccer player Neil Robinson. He was the first vegan soccer player, and he's a really amazing, outspoken guy for animal rights and veganism. And he started an organization called Peaceful Planet, and this is a branch of that called Athletes for Peace. And he's trying to, get attention to how many athletes are out there that are thriving on the vegan diet, which is exactly what we're doing. So we're kind of joining forces with him for the 4/4 run that we have coming up. And he's doing this thing called skipping for peace. So instead of running, you can skip, and which is great because you're going to look ridiculous. And we're going to have these vegan socks that you can buy on our website if you really want to play it up. And we encourage you to wear bright colors because you're going to be skipping around your local track or park or wherever you're going to be running. And we want everybody to really look at you. So I'm going to see that you're vegan and you're going to look great in your vegan garb skipping around. And I'm going to be going to the UK right before this, and I'll be joining up with Neil and some other vegan athletes there in England, and we're going to skip together. So we'll be taking lots of photos of that and putting it on the website and in the magazine and talking about that. But if you can also run. You don't have to skip anywhere you are in the world. But that's just something that we're doing to try to help raise awareness and raise funds for that organization. And what else did we have coming up?
Vegan Beef Team. I got the vegan.
We'll let you know when we think about it. Go on and talk about another topic. But
you're going to the United Kingdom. So.
Well, I guess I basically just mentioned that real briefly that I am going to the UK on a little bit of a tour, going around to a different vegan fest every other weekend for about 3 months. So I'll be getting there in the end of March, and first thing I'll be doing is that Vegan Global Run / Skipping for Peace on the 4th of April. And then on April 9th, the Irish Vegan Festival is happening in that's the first time that there's been an Irish Vegan Festival, and it's going to be in Belfast there in Northern Ireland. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've never been to Ireland, although I'm Irish. I have Irish blood, so I guess I'm going to fit right in. And so then after that, there'll be a vegan festival in Manchester, and there'll be one in Newcastle, and I'll be speaking to some meetup groups in Bristol and Brighton. So if you're in the UK and you want to have me come and speak to your group and talk about what's going on with the magazine, and I would love to do that. So I usually bring goodies with me. So try to make it fun for everybody and answer lots of questions about vegan nutrition and athletics. And so that's what I'll be doing until the end of June. So looking forward to meeting all the UK friends, and then hopefully I'll make it to Australia sometime in the future.
And Brenda, in the UK, I believe they now have the world's first vegan football club. It was put together by a gentleman, Dale Vince, who's a local businessman who made his fortune in green energy. And at the stadium, when you go there, everyone gets served vegan, vegetarian types of food when they watch the game. The athletes are all vegan.
Oh,
How
really
amazing
cool.
is that?
That's so awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, actually, we made a short stop through Bristol in the UK, and it was really cool. They're really pro organic growing, and in the streets they had all these murals painted promoting organic farming and non-GMO, and it kind of photos depicting the dangers of GMO with little angry tomato plants and angry corns, and then all these other ones promoting organic produce.
Yeah, Bristol is amazing. It's kind of similar to Austin in many ways because they have a really large music scene there. They are really pro-local community. They even have their own local currency called Bristol dollars.
True.
And they even have, when you go into the streets where normally there'd be a type of plant that's unedible in the middle of the pathways, they actually have edible lettuces, and they have signs on it that says, please take as much food as you need.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
That should be happening everywhere.
It really should.
I think that there's with this awareness of vegan lifestyle and of organic, you see it starting to build up. It's taking time, but enough people get together and promote this kind of healthy living, and enough for all. And my goodness, we could save the world if everyone went vegan. And
you've been looking at around the world the trends. So Asia's richest man just invested $23 million into a vegan food company, Just Mayo. His name is Li Ka-shing, the richest man in Asia. And he says, everyone wants a clean and sustainable world. And we love Hampton Creek has committed that goal. So when we begin looking at these trends, it's such a simple solution. And even the most wealthiest, the smartest, the healthiest people are all seeing, it's like everyone looked at the mountain and saw the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little
wonderful.
really goes a long way. Like just having those people in positions of influence in the world making these changes and it becoming public really does inspire people who want to emulate their successes.
Yeah, and Elisa, I understand. I remember Steve Wynn, he did an article about going vegan a while ago. I don't know if he's still vegan or he may be still vegan. The Life and Times of Steve Wynn, the face of the casino mogul. But I know one of his employees came to see, well, actually her daughter came to do some yoga training with us. Yep. And she appealed to us to help her mother. And we agreed to make treatments very affordable for her mother, and her daughter helped out the yoga studio. And do you want to, she actually wrote a book about her healing process. Do you want to explain a little bit about that book?
Sure. Yes, she came in, her daughter cried to us one day and said, my mom has been sick my entire life and she's, spends all of her time in bed, and can you guys help her? And, of course, David and I we're like, well, of course we'll help. But, it's hard when you get a case that's so difficult. You think, oh man, like, okay, I can help this person, but they got to listen to what I tell them. And a lot of people don't want to make the lifestyle changes to actually fix up their health. But this particular lady came in and she cried to me when I saw her on the first day. And she said, you're my last hope. I've tried everything.
And Elisa, I remember when she came in, she came in with a cane.
Yeah.
And her daughter was helped carrying her into the medical clinic.
Yeah. Yeah. She came in, she had a cane, and because she'd had surgery on her knee, and she had gone through a lot of different surgeries and things. And she's basically on pain medication for years and years and years, and was addicted to it because of her pain.
Yeah, she writes about it in her book. Her book is called
A Mother and Daughter's Journey.
Yeah, and it's written by actually her mother and her daughter. They wrote a journal of their experiences from when she came in and to her mother's healing experience. And I remember in her book, she was saying that she had multiple surgeries, including her whole entire spine had been truncated, I believe, with metal.
Yep.
And she was addicted to painkillers because the poor lady couldn't sleep. And she had so many issues trying to even just get out of bed.
Yes. Basically, to make a long story short, she came in, we did some acupuncture on her, and she walked out without her cane and never picked up her cane again. But so the acupuncture helped hugely, and she came, twice a week, I believe. But in addition to that, she changed to a vegan diet and she juiced. We basically put her on a raw organic juice cleanse every day, and she ate raw organic vegan food every day. And that woman turned her life around within a matter of 3 months.
Yeah, you see the before and after photos in her book, and she just looks like two different people. And
yep, she threw all of her pharmaceuticals in the toilet, and she doesn't use them anymore.
And didn't her AMA certified and schooled Western medical doctor die from a drug overdose? I think during the writing of the book or during her treatment. Wow.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more after the show. And of course, to the people out there, if you have a medical condition, we ask you to find a qualified, registered doctor that can meet your needs. And we'll talk more about that after the break.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Ryan Metzel live in studio here at Brave New Books. Make sure you check out all the health products they have here whenever you're in town. And we were talking before break with Dr. Elisa Wampole about her experiences with some of the patients that she has worked with and how utilizing such things as a vegan diet, juicing, acupuncture, and Chinese medicine has helped them reverse some serious issues that they had. So would you like to continue with your the story there, Dr. Lisa?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of stories. That was just one woman. I had another woman also who came in, and she was having trouble with her back. And basically, we, again, had her do juicing and clean up her diet, get rid of the dairy. And she came and got acupuncture and had huge improvement within, I would say, 3 or 4 months. And now, again, she still continues her juicing, and she doesn't have any more pain.
And Lisa, going back to the Mother and Daughter's Journey book, that was what was on before the break. Can you talk a little bit about kind of where Lisa was and how she progressed and where she was at the end?
Let's see. Well, when she started, she was heavily medicated all the time. And later on, after she got off of her medication and was feeling better, she said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was operating a motor vehicle and doing all these things given the amount of medication I was on." She said, wow, that was actually dangerous because she was so medicated all of the time just to get through her day.
And I remember seeing over the week, she was losing weight. She was looking healthier. She was so excited to come in. We decided one day on our lunch break to make some food. And she's like, "Oh, can I come and help make food?" I'm like, "Sure." And then we met up with her daughter for a yoga class. She's like, "My mother came over to make food for you guys?"
Yeah.
And we're like, "Yeah." She's like, "My mother never goes outside with other people." And she's all excited because her mother was just feeling so healthy that she wanted to hang out and make friendships because she was just feeling very positive. And then I remember she came in one day and she said, "Oh, you would not believe this, but her boss, Steve Wynn, called her on the phone, and he said that he was flipping through her book."
Yeah.
And she said, "Which one on the cover is the daughter and which one's the mother?" is what she told us. She said.
Yeah. It was very cute. She really did. She lost weight, and just the sparkle in her eye came back. And when you see the pictures at the end of the book, the before and after photos, it's really, really evident of the change in her mind that happened over those 6 months.
Yeah, and her daughter, Ashley, she's gone on to open up a couple of yoga studios in Las Vegas. She's become very, very popular. she writes about her journey also transitioning in food and juicing. She, in her book, goes into all her digestive problems she had and about, the disappointment to where she was trying to be healthy. She was trying to study at college, but she was suffering from a lot of painful digestive issues. And then, through her journey of her juicing and the journey of her approach to asana in yoga to being more of a therapeutic experience, she was extremely happy with her changes. And now she's just gone on to be this shining little yoga star, teaching and sharing so much with people in the Vegas community.
True. And even her mother got into yoga as well. And I think when you change to a healthier lifestyle with regard to diet, it's also an incentive to get more into fitness or more into yoga, become more active because you just feel better. When you feel better, then you want to exercise and treat your body right.
Yeah, and the book's an easy read. You can get it at Brave New Books, or you can log on to BurkeSuperfoods.com and take a read of the book. There's another patient, Elisa, that wrote a book about her experience, Celia.
Yes.
And I remember Celia came in because actually she went to one of Ashley's yoga classes and she was in pain, and she referred her to come and see you.
Yeah, she was crying in yoga class, and Ashley came up and said, "What's wrong?" And she said, the doctors say I have to get surgery. And she said, "Oh, don't worry. My mom was sick. Why don't you go to this doctor?" And so Celia turns up.
Yeah, she turns up, and she, in a book, she turns up and she'd gone to see 5 different specialists, and they told her that unfortunately, if she didn't get some of the procedures, these specialists were telling her that she was going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. And she was rather scared about that, and she writes about it in her book. And she had Chinese medicine is very different to some of the diagnoses in Western medicine. And they told her she had a shrinking of the spine, and she loved golf. And they told her she probably would never be able to play golf again.
Yes, basically, she had too much inflammation in her body, and so the inside of her spine was shrinking, and it was causing some impingement of the nerve, and so she was having really severe sciatic pain. And so stuff like this, of course, you can do acupuncture for pain, but in the end, I told her, look, you got to get rid of the inflammation. And of course, what's the best diet to get rid of inflammation is cutting out all the meat and the dairy and eating vegan and alkalizing with green juices. And so we did that. And this was the woman I was just talking about. She still juices.
Yeah, she in her book, she came to us at the clinic, and she said that she'd wake up in the middle of the night screaming in pain. And she, within 100 days, she was completely pain-free.
Wow.
And she went and played golf, and she walked the cancer marathon with her daughter.
Wow.
And before, she couldn't get out of bed, and she needed help to just get around the house.
True. And it's the same story. She did the diet. She still does yoga. And last time I saw her was, I think, 3 weeks ago. And I always tell her whenever I'm in town to come in for a treatment. And she said, I came in just because I like acupuncture, but honestly, I don't have any pain. But she brought her husband because she says her husband won't listen to her about all of her dietary stuff. So he's got some pain.
Yeah. And she's probably been about 3 years now, Lisa, with no pain.
I'm not sure how long, but that sounds about right. She had a little bit of pain back and forth here and there, but in the last year or so, I would say she's almost been at zero.
Yeah, just been playing golf, enjoying her life.
Yeah, I love the part in the book
amazing.
where she went to the one specialist, and the specialist was like, if you go to any doctor and they tell you that anything except surgery can fix you, they're darn liars. And so I love the way you totally prove that guy wrong.
Well, I mean, when we look at different countries, like in China, and we look at the history of medicine, such as some of the translations in our book I go over in India, the surgery and acupuncture and nutrition, all these things were a part of one body of information. And it was only kind of recently in Western countries we began to take away parts and just have parts. There's a Western medical doctor who's also trained in Chinese medicine in the US, and he was Chinese American. And he did a lecture saying that, yes, in China, we had surgery and all these things, but our internal herbal medicine was so good that we didn't really need surgery very much. But you can still, go for the tours in the museums in Beijing and see the old surgery tools they had.
Huh.
And he actually was told that he was going to die. And that's when he sought out Chinese medicine, and he healed himself. And he said, wow, this is incredible. And he went to school for Chinese medicine. So he's both a Western-trained medical doctor and a Chinese-trained doctor.
Yeah, there's so much we can do with alternative medicine. that, Western medicine recognizes it somewhat, but when it comes to nutrition, most medical doctors have to do very little training in nutrition, almost zero.
Yeah, Brenda, I think you were mentioning about approximately the amount of training that is being done.
Well, I've heard from the doctors that I've spoken with, they tell me they had just a few hours in medical school. It was like one day they had a lecture on one afternoon. It was just real quick and rushed through. And, they don't put much emphasis on it. And that's one thing that really frustrates T. Colin Campbell, who is the world's leading nutritionist, who's, professor emeritus at Princeton, the author of the China Study, just an amazing researcher of nutrition. I mean, I feel like those are the kind of people that we need to be listening to, people who really have studied nutrition. And it's a shame that
very true,
think
Brenda.
that
We'll catch up with that again after the break.
Fishing is a wonderful pastime. It's a terrific way to bond with family and get in touch with nature. But there's a scary kind of fishing you'll want nothing to do with. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll tell you more in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Phishing, spelled with a PH, isn't very sporting. The goal is to reel in personal information and compromise your account. The PH in phishing stands for phony. Phishing scams involve impersonating legitimate organizations like banks, and the bait is usually a phony email. A phishing email may ask for account information or provide a link to an official-looking website, but don't fall for it. Never email your bank account number, your user ID, or passwords. Legitimate companies won't ask you to, and it's best to enter a website address directly rather than clicking on an email link to check an account or make a purchase. Accidentally typing data into a phishing website could cost you thousands. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Chemtrails.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Hello, everybody. We're back on the air. And just before the break, we were chatting with Dr. Lisa Wampole about some of the patients she's seen and some of the invaluable wisdom she's been able to offer them to assist in their healing process and to further enjoy the journey of life. So if you'd like to continue sharing some of that, Lisa, I think the listeners very much enjoy hearing these stories.
Yeah, it's really inspiring to hear stories about people who have gotten well, because it gives everybody else hope. And before, we were just talking a little bit about Western medical doctors and how sometimes they don't talk with their patients as much about the importance of nutrition. And so many illnesses and diseases can be managed and even reversed with just giving your body the proper nutrients that it needs in order to fix itself. I mean, that's basically what holistic medicine is giving the body the ability to heal itself.
And when you travel around the world and you look at how the world approaches health, so we spent over a month in India where one of the families within government took us for tours to all the different temples and great yoga teachers. We met some of the Ayurvedic doctors. And in India, people know, because they've been around for so long, how important health and nutrition is. And, the doctors are there trained in nutrition. They are trained in herbology. So it's quite interesting. And then in China, you've got doctors who they have to do both their studies in Western medicine and Chinese medicine. And, in the US, it seems like, because, the US is very young country. And it seems like, we're just starting to catch up. And if I look into my crystal ball, I think in the not too distant future, we're going to have training where it needs to be on both sides. Because when I took some of my graduate classes in medical, I don't remember doing any classes on nutrition at all. And, but when we look at what we're getting our education for, when you look at the classes for your medical doctorate, you just, like it can be a doctor of engineering, you could be a doctor of the arts, you could be a doctor of English. When you look at classes, it's kind of like you're getting a doctor in pharmacology. Mm-hmm. I would think, looking at the curriculum, maybe a doctor in anatomy and kind of partial biology.
Yeah, it's really funny because a lot of my patients who come in, they come in and they're frustrated because they've been to their doctor and they're saying to me, all my doctor is recommending is this drug or this surgery. And I tell them, well, that's what's in your doctor's tool bag. He's got drugs to fix you, or he's got surgery. He doesn't have any other tools in his tool bag. Herbs and nutrition, again, that's not really a Western medical way to treat. That is more traditional.
Yeah. In my graduate classes, I had a Western doctor teaching our class on anatomy and physiology and going into the different types of Western medicines. And she gave the example to me of how Western medicine works. This is what I was being taught by this doctor in class. And she said, look, it's really easy. This is how it works, because it's about scope of practice. And if you're a Western medical doctor, your scope of practice is the tools of drugs. And then you can go and do more school and be a surgeon. And you can, at least her father is a dental surgeon.
Yep.
And her mother's a pharmacist, right?
Yeah.
So, and she explained to me, my teacher in school, that when you go and see a Western medical doctor, their tools is drugs. That's what they're there to give you. And she said, if say you have a pain in the arm, well, you're going to go and see that doctor and they're going to give you a painkiller more than likely for your shoulder, if it's in your shoulder. And then you come back in because your shoulder still hurts. And then you'd be referred to a specialist for shoulders. And that specialist has two tools. One can be injecting a type of drug into that area to take away the pain, or two, the other tool to refer you to another specialist, being a surgeon. So say you get an injection in your arm and then it still hurts, and you come back and see that specialist. They will then refer you to a specialist, a surgeon that deals with those type of things. And that surgeon has in their toolbox the ability to do surgery. And they're going to cut that area. And then say after the surgery, you come back and you still have pain. There's no one left to see with that scope of practice. So we had a gentleman who was a dentist in I believe it was the United States Navy. And he came and saw us, and this poor guy had lost his whole entire retirement, everything that he'd worked for all that time and serving his country, to where he had nothing, because he ended up getting a pain in his knee. He got surgery, and then he ended up getting a type of flesh-eating bacteria.
Yeah.
And he
had
MRSA. Yeah. And he survived, but he came and saw Elisa at our clinic in Las Vegas, and Elisa put just a couple of needles into him, acupuncture needles, and he felt no pain. And he said it was the first time he felt no pain in many years. And after treatment, the guy actually got up and started running down the hallway, and he went and played a tennis match. And then the next day, he came and said, "Oh, I'm feeling a bit sore today." But the guy hadn't been able to play tennis in several years. And then, unfortunately, he came and told us that the replacement knee that he got in his surgery was the wrong size. So now he has to go in for another surgery to get that knee looked at.
Yeah.
Seems like they're making some good money by doing all this, is what it sounds like to me. So
yeah, people always come after they get their surgery and it didn't work. And I wish they would come to me before they get their surgery, but that doesn't always happen.
I wonder why that is. I did notice that. Yeah. It seems like every patient that was coming in is like, I've tried everything possible and it didn't work, and now I'm going to try this. And hopefully that's why some of these books, that's why it's great that the patients are writing the book, so that other people can resonate with those stories. And, someone who is, diagnosed with spinal stenosis can read Celia Wiscombe's book and listen to her personal testimonial of what she did and the results that occurred, because unfortunately, we are somewhat hamstringed by the American Medical Association and what we legally are allowed to say about what works and doesn't work, which, is, so we obviously have to, toe that line.
Yeah. And Ryan, because I know you're completing 2 masters in kinesiology, one at UT and one at Concordia College in Austin, Texas. Mm-hmm. And I understand, the type of frustration people get into when they start seeing the different types of scope of practice that has been made available in the world. And I think the US just doesn't have a choice. I mean, when you look at the quality of health around the world that other countries are getting, US was ranked, I think, 46th in healthcare, which we have that article in our book. And when you think about that, imagine if your basketball team was ranked 46. They wouldn't even be high enough ranked to be in the NBA.
The UT basketball team may be about 46, so we might be around that area.
Yeah.
The football team too, but I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. How much money is being made, and the results that are being produced are very low in comparison.
And in the US, I believe, spends the most on healthcare than any other modern country, developed country. And, spending the most and being ranked at 46, that's kind of concerning. But when you travel around the world, and like we said, when we're in Iceland, and it's the longest lived, people in the world at the moment, they have incredible access to food, incredible access to, natural health. They have incredible access to working out, fitness, all these complementary modalities.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys, I hate to say it, but after traveling around the world so much this year, the sickest people I see are in the United States. Just the most overweight, the most sick looking. It's just the quality of the food is so bad.
Oh, definitely. You see all the food chains like McDonald's and all this all over the place. And like the whole time we were in Iceland, I don't think I ever even remember seeing someone that I would consider to be like really unhealthy or like extremely obese. Everyone there was, they weren't all, super thin, supermodel, really super fitness, unless we were at World Class Lager, the gym and spa there, which everyone was just completely ripped and diesel. But just on the streets, everyone just seemed relatively healthy, and they didn't, there weren't people walking around in canes and scooters and all this craziness. And again, the only thing I can attribute it to, like you said, is the food. They're getting all their food locally there. The people that I talked to there said all those chain restaurants that are there, no one even goes to, so they're just eating at the local restaurants that are there. And
yeah, and Ryan, we can say in Melbourne, the food here in the restaurants, so many of them are locally sourced. It's organic.
Excellent. Let's get into more about that after the break, Dave.
Hello, everybody. We are broadcasting live from Austin, Texas and Melbourne, Australia. And thank you so much, Brenda and Brian, for coming on the show today. Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine. You have some great new articles coming out in your next edition. I believe that also John Mackey may be appearing on your pitch as the CEO of Whole Foods.
Right. We're so excited that John Mackey will be on the May-June cover. Our next cover, however, is the March-April cover, which will have the doctors on the cover that I mentioned earlier, Dr. Garth Davis, who's actually a bariatric surgeon based in Houston. And what's so awesome about him is that not only does he, do surgeries, if he gets to that point, when people come to him because they are in extreme state of needing weight loss, they usually have diabetes and heart disease, and he prescribes fruits and vegetables. In fact, he has something set up in the lobby of the hospital that's called a pharmacy, spelled with an F, and he actually has people come and he hands them boxes of fruits and vegetables. And
that is so cool.
Yeah, so we've covered that. He does it as a publicity stunt, constantly really trying to educate people that they can turn their health around by eating a plant-based diet. And he's only been vegan himself for about 2 years, and it was a really long journey for him, going through the science and having his own health problems that brought him to this place. So he's got a great story, and has a ton of success stories of people who he's worked with. And then we have Dr. Brooke Goldner, who has personal experience of overcoming lupus, and that's considered to be an incurable disease. And she went through a lot of struggle and pain as a young woman, and was told she'd never have children. She now has 2 beautiful vegan boys, and she was told she was going to die young, and she was always going to have pain and difficulty. And she's definitely one of the most thriving, healthy, fit people I know now, full of energy and not a trace of lupus. So she's on the cover, and she's also talking about the experiences that she's had having a fit vegan pregnancy, or 2 fit vegan pregnancies actually now. And there's a lot of people who ask us about this issue. So we're really glad to have somebody talk about that, because it's really funny when people have been vegan for a while and then they get pregnant and they say, oh no, my doctor's telling me, as we're talking about, the doctors don't know anything about nutrition, unfortunately, and they're going with, I don't know where they're getting the information, but they're telling people to eat meat when they're pregnant. And one of the biggest things they're concerned about is folate, and I think that's really weird because that's in abundance in fruits and vegetables, and vegans have no problems with folate. It's people who don't eat enough fruits and vegetables that have a problem with that. So that's the main problem that they're seeing with in pregnancy, and veganism is perfect for. So I'm sure you've had situations like that, Elisa, where you've had, pregnant women that you've counseled. And we love sharing that information and telling people, please do this for your baby. It's good for your baby.
It's true. I had one woman who was pregnant. She actually came to me for infertility, and she had like 3 in vitros and they didn't work. And so she was going for a 4th, and we did acupuncture to help her with her fertility. But we also had to nourish her blood. Now she was a meat eater, but I said, hey, look, let's try to get some more vegan foods into your diet. And I introduced her to spirulina, and she actually loved spirulina. And so she ate a ton of spirulina. And I think that's one of the things that made her blood strong enough to be able to hold on to the embryo that time.
That's
and
she now has a baby boy, right?
Yeah, she does. She does. Awesome. And I made sure that she got, her omega-3s and her spirulina and all that stuff while she was pregnant. Mm-hmm.
And for listeners, spirulina is an algae. Approximately 1 tablespoon of spirulina has the same amount of usable protein as a steak. And
has a lot of iron.
Yeah, spirulina is just amazing. It actually quadruples overnight in size in some studies. So it's not just the proteins of food. It has so many of the essential amino acids in it. And you can get that at Brave New Books. Has spirulina there?
Yes, definitely. Or online at burkesuperfoods.com. So yeah, if you're in the Austin area, stop into Brave New Books. This spirulina, chlorella, which is another good one. And then I think several types of the vegan proteins too that you have in the line, right?
Yeah. Those are also just great for general supplementation for vegans who, for whatever reason, feel like they need to get more protein. But, for athletes especially too. But the spirulina itself is really dense in nutrients. It's one of the most nutrient-dense foods there is. So even for non-vegans, because I know some of our listeners may still want to eat meat now and then, and I tell people if you must eat meat, then at least eat organic. But just starting to incorporate some vegan foods and vegan lifestyle into your diet goes a long way to boost your health. And supplements being one of them, especially the green foods like spirulina and chlorella.
We definitely agree with that philosophy of instead of looking at going vegan as a way to deprive yourself of certain foods, add foods in. So if you're thinking about dabbling in veganism, I'm sure you can do a meat-free Monday. But what is a lot more helpful for a lot of people is to just add more greens or, add having a fruit smoothie in the morning, add more high nutrition foods to your diet that happen to be vegan, and you'll gradually push the meat and dairy out and you won't miss it at all.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I also want to encourage people, if you don't live in a place where you have access to a vegan doctor, there are many resources online, and I believe you can probably contact Elisa online, as well as most of the vegan doctors that we have in our magazine, all of them actually. They all have websites, so definitely encourage you to use Google. It's your friend. Get out there and find vegan doctors who can counsel you online if you don't have one in your community.
And I think, Dr. Lisa, you're in the process of opening up an office here, I think, hopefully in the next few months here in Austin, Texas, I believe, right?
Yeah, we're doing some building on a property out there, and we're hoping that property will be done soon. And yeah,
it's moving at the speed of Austin permits, which the reputation of the Austin permitting office is far and wide. Words could not describe such a reputation. And but it'll be a great place for like-minded people to come together and to have a great community and support each other and experience the profound offerings that nature has given us in the form of plant-based foods. And Brenda, we'd love to have some symposiums with you. I know we're going to be having, once again, the World Fitness Championships. We'd love to, if possible, leading up to that, have some workshops, as we have a lot of plant-based athletes and plant-based interested people on the benefits of plant-based food with some of the database of doctors and experts that you have.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for us to do lots of great things together. So people should stay tuned and see all the amazing stuff that we're going to do. Because let's do that. Oh, another thing I want to mention before we go, because I know we've only got a couple minutes left, is if you're listening to this broadcast right now, we want to thank you so much for doing that. And if you're interested in Vegan Health and Fitness Magazine, we want to give you an opportunity to try it out for $1, actually. So the digital issue is available worldwide. So if you're in Melbourne or Austin or wherever you are, you'll be able to get the digital issue if you just go to the website, vhfmag.com, go to the stores if you're going to go ahead and subscribe for the magazine, and use the coupon code TRYVHF, TRYVHF. And that coupon code will give you the digital subscription for a year. That's 6 issues for $1. So hopefully you'll like it, and you want to go ahead and do a regular subscription after that. And we'll talk about giving you more discounts as it goes along.
Yeah, it's a great magazine. Beautiful photos, inspiring stories, very personal.
Yeah, and I believe, Ryan, that you were in the magazine last month with Brenda. I let the listeners know they'd be able to see Ryan with his legs spread wide.
Yeah, and his shirt off. He's got an amazing physique, and we're so proud that he's going to be a columnist now, it looks like. So, he's talking about the natural connections of, health and wellness is it's a holistic thing. And that's a big theme, in the magazine. And I know that you guys are all into also. So Ryan he also has an amazing book that is, the same subject matter. So tell us about your column real quick here.
Oh, I was titling my column "The Holistic Nature of of health, like whole as in, being complete. And the reason for that is I think so many people get into one area and receive such benefits from it, but they stay so focused on it. And my whole idea is to just like to show everyone that there's so many different ways you can receive benefits and improve your life, whether it's through, eating and switching over to a vegan diet, or, doing yoga and the strength training and the bodybuilding. And, everyone tries to label themselves like I'm going to put myself in this box, when in reality there's no reason why you can't do everything. I know Dave was bringing the idea earlier in the show about all these amazing intellectuals, the typical Renaissance man who, were all living vegan vegetarian lifestyles, and there's no reason why that can't still occur today. The idea of being a Renaissance man and being good at everything, because when you just tap into, the universe and infinite creation, infinite abundance, everything that's there already exists. And you just have to realize that, align yourself with nature. And that's really all the vegan diet is doing. You're just aligning yourself more with nature. And
Ryan, I understand that you wrote a book about your transition years ago what is the name of your book, and how can people get your book?
My book is Yoga for the Warrior Athlete, and you actually can pick it up here at Brave New Books. They sell it. There's various other stores around town that have copies as well, or online, Burke Superfoods as well. And yeah, just detailing my journey about, working with some of the highest level professional athletes in the world, and just how I got to a certain level of sport, and I guess wasn't provided all of the knowledge that I'm now realizing the top athletes in the world, are utilizing. And so my transitions from there, and I guess how I was able to make these changes through some just incredible teachers, incredible instructors, and just amazing results achieved.
And Ryan, in school, you're on nearly a perfect score, right? In both your two masters.
Yeah, definitely getting all A's so far. So that is a great thing. So we're coming up here to the end of the show. Thank you to everyone for listening. Thanks to Brenda and Brian, and to everyone in Australia. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you guys.
See you next week.
See you next week.